Now let's talk a little bit how to take feedback when there is contention, right? Your goal is to grow and to expand and to find the life structure that is good for you as fast as possible, right? You don't want to get there in 80 years.
No.
You want to get there as fast as possible, right? So to do that, you basically, this experimentation we're talking about, really is about navigation, right? You're navigating, you're trying this way, you're trying that way, till you find what's right, right? Now, to navigate, and you navigate in space, right? In your relationship space, which is complicated because there's different facets. So think of it as navigating in space. To navigate in space, any navigation system, it needs a minimum of 3 triangulation anchors, right? That's how GPS works, right? Your GPS system is most accurate when it has 3 satellites and it can triangulate, and then it's pinpoint, right? So think, for instance, of guided missiles. They hit the target the fastest, right? But they guide themselves. They course correct all the time, right? Now, there is the triangulation part. How do you do that in your relationship space, for instance, or in your life as a whole, right? So you have your perspective. That's one triangulation. That's one reference point. Now, you want another quality point of view to triangulate yourself. The person that knows you best is your spouse. So really, their feedback is extremely valuable for you to be able to navigate yourself. But you know that their feedback comes through their lens, meaning their fears, their pains, their limitations, their belief systems, some right, some totally off, right? So now you can try and look at their feedback through their lens and take into account the distortion that their lens, as best as you can, creates, right? So if you understand that your spouse has a certain type of fear, then you can factor it out. Still use her perspective, but ask yourself, how would her perspective be, to the best that you can, objectively, without the bias that she puts in? Okay? So that's another perspective. And the third one that you can create is find the middle point between the 2 perspectives, right? Just arbitrarily say, okay, my perspective is this. Let's say my perspective is the business is doing great. Her perspective is we're high risk. What's the middle? Right? And create another perspective, right? And now consider all 3 perspectives as equal.
Okay.
Not that yours is the right one and why the other 2 are wrong. No. Use them as equals. And now say to yourself, okay, if I have those 3 perspectives, what does it tell me about my reality? How do I really show up? See? You do this exercise, you get yourself 3 triangulation points, and then your missile is the most accurate. So your progress is the fastest. And it's an opportunity, actually, whenever you have a friction, a dispute, a fight, whatever, that's a bigger opportunity because then the gap is the biggest. So it's great. So
yeah, we're off track. So let's
exactly. So now you can do it when you're like in the fight, whatever. But calm yourself down, take a walk, whatever. Go surf, and then think about it in those terms, and try and visualize it, and see where are you really versus what you tell yourself. So now you reduce the bias that you have with yourself. You get a better understanding of where you truly are, and then you compare that to where you really want to be. Is it? And then you ask yourself, okay, how do I course correct? How do I get from this point, not where I think I am, but where I realize I probably am, taking into account it's likely not the most accurate, but it's the most accurate you can get to where I want to be. And you start correcting. Now that process you do repeatedly, not one. And especially on recurring themes in the relationship. So in your case, for instance, the shape of the business. Right? So you do now, you change some things, you do in a week again, you do a week later again, and again, and again, and you constantly do that. And you gradually learn the pattern. So you learn what's the distortion of the system. How does it get you off track? Right? And that's what sophisticated navigation systems do, is they learn the bias. Right? And gradually it becomes easier and easier. And you also better and better navigate yourself to where you really want to be. Whether it's your business, whether it's your life, whether it's your relationship, doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
Make sense? If you take that in, you really understand that whenever she tells you something that you're really uncomfortable, that's gold. That's the most important feedback, because that's the most removed for where you are.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where you have the big course correction.
Okay.
Regardless of what she says, the fact that there is a big gap, that's already makes it very valuable.
Okay.
Right? So it's a multi-step process, but if you do it repeatedly, you get used to it. And it gets easier and better and more accurate. And you'll see the results if you apply the changes, of course.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like macro and micro adjustments, like on a telescope. The initial ones are macro, where you're making like the moons of just a sea of white, and now it's like, oh, I can see a circle, and now it's like, now I can start seeing craters once I start doing the fine tuning. And but you have to like start with these big adjustments to get to them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Also guided missiles. In the beginning, there's the big adjustment, and then gradually it's small.
Or tuning a guitar or something like that. You strum it once, and it's you get it, and you do it again, and
everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool.
Cool.